Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the special council meeting for May 2nd, 2022 for the City of Dauphin. We acknowledge that the land on which we gather is Treaty 2 land, traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Assiniboine, Dakota, and Dene peoples and homeland of the Métis Nation. And we affirm our commitment to moving forward in partnership with Indigenous communities in a spirit of collaboration and reconciliation. Moved by Councillor Juba, seconded by Deputy Mayor Stikilo. Be it resolved that Council accepts the special council meeting agenda as presented. Any questions or comments before we move on there? Seeing none, I'll call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Deputy Mayor Stikilo. Whereas the Municipal Act Section 162 states each member of the council must attend the... Yeah, I don't need to read this one, eh? That's correct. Okay, moving on. Moved by Deputy Mayor Stikilo, seconded by Councillor Juba. Be it resolved that council now adjourns to hear the public hearing as scheduled. Call the questions there. All in favor? Motion carried. So the public hearing participants for the 2022 financial plan, there was nobody registered, but Susie Secord, I see you're here. Welcome to the party. Thanks for stopping by. Council will now commence to hear representations from the City of Dauphin and any other persons who wish to make representation for this scheduled public hearing. Anyone who has not yet registered but wishes to make a presentation for the public hearings, please register with the Executive Assistant. We will now proceed with the public hearing for the 2022 financial plan for the City of Dauphin. Would the City Manager like to speak in favor of the 2022 financial plan? Take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And good evening, everybody. As the Mayor said, welcome to the public hearing for the City of Dauphin's 2022 financial plan. I am Charlotte Griffiths, the City Manager of the City of Dauphin. And today, on behalf of Council, I will be presenting the 2022 financial plan. Thanks to Council for their direction this year, and thanks to administration for the work that everybody did to put this budget down on paper. To follow the rules of the public hearings under the Municipal Act, this public hearing is open to the public and was advertised as such. And I'm multimedia today. Oh, look at that. It actually advanced. So the Municipal Act requires that municipalities in the province of Manitoba hold public hearings prior to adopting their financial plan. And the purpose of this hearing, as I said, is for Council to share the City of Dauphin's 2022 financial plan. And that's both for the general fund and the utility fund. So the 2022 budget summary. From the 2020 level, so a lot of times I'm going to be comparing to last year, 21, but from the 2020 level, taxation decreased by $200,000 due to the use of the federal restart funding that the Government of Canada gave to us as part of some COVID relief. That does translate, however, to a 1.6% increase. So from the 2020 level, Council dropped taxation by $301,000 last year, and dropped it by $200,000 this year. So compared last year to this year, it's a 1.6% increase. We have a continued level of spending on municipal infrastructure like roads, sidewalks, and water distribution, and there are no program cuts. Some other highlights is we have consistent support for local community groups. We're in year 2 of a multi-year project to improve drainage at the south end of Dauphin, as well as improve stormwater runoff on other city streets. We're investing in our community recreation and active living through expansion of the active transportation route, which is what we have planned this year is First Avenue Southwest and a link to Assiniboine Community College. And through Dauphin Rec Services, we'll be funding a toddler playground at Meadowlark Park and disc golf course at Vermilion Park. And we're also reviewing the city's development plan, which will include a public consultation. So just the basic components of our budget, as I mentioned, there's a general fund and a utility fund. So general fund is the basic city operations, and the utility fund is our water and wastewater. And both of those funds have revenue and expenditures. In terms of the general revenue, there are 4 streams: a provincial school tax, or the education support levy, a local school tax, and that's for Mountain View School Division, a municipal tax, which goes to the City of Dauphin, and other revenue like grants, user fees, and fines. So I'll start with the provincial school tax. This is only for commercial properties or non-residential. So this is set at 0 mills, but the province has set this rate at 8.713, and that raises $967,712. And something to note: the city collects the provincial provincial school tax on behalf of the province, and then the city passes that amount to the province. The city has no control over the amount levied, and the tax only pertains to commercial property. The next revenue stream is the local school tax. And as I said, we have 1 school division, and that's Mountain View School Division. This year, their mill rate was 14.540, and that raises $4,762,287. Looking back over the last couple of years, it's been extremely consistent over 2021 and 2020. Similarly to the previous tax, the city collects it on behalf of Mountain View School Division and then passes it along. We have no say in what the mill rate is set at all. The City of Dauphin does not keep any of the money from these 2 school taxes. Something to note also, again, this year, the province of government is making some changes to their how they collect how they levy school tax. So for properties that are, let me see, just like in 2021, the province will issue rebate checks and we'll be getting them in the mail. That was the information that the province provided to us just this last week. So we anticipate additional information to be forthcoming. Third revenue stream is the municipal tax. This year, the mill rate is set at 18.332, and that raises $6,382,457. The taxes raised in 2022 are slightly higher than 21, as I said, 1.6%. Let's see, this change in 22 mill rate is an increase of 0.293 or 1.62%. The 4th stream is other revenue, as I said, grants, user fees, and licenses. This year, that's totaling just over 5.3 million. So we've got some added taxes, business licenses listed at 94,000, provincial municipal operating grant 645,145. That is the same since 2016. We all know that things have increased a little since 2016. So the province, however, is still giving us the same operating grant. Our provincial public safety grant, which helps us with RCMP, 939,000. Some federal grants and some provincial grants, just over $1 million between the 2 of those. It's a big slide with a lot of numbers, but just wanted to highlight that the over the last 11 years, here's some totals of what the residential mill rate looks like. It was about 46 mills in 2012, and it is down to just under 33 total in Dauphin. The next slide is the commercial side. So again, 2012, it was just over 57, and this year it is about 41.5. So we are able to collect less money from each property and still do all the things that we need to do. Sean always likes this question. How much does $100,000 raise, or how much taxes is on $100,000, right? So looking at the math, this year, if a residential property is worth $100,000, their total tax bill would be $1,479.24. Comparing it to 2021, that's an increase of $9.58. Similarly, the same concept for commercial, $100,000 in a commercial zone. The tax bill would be $2,703.42, and that is an increase of $6.99. So it is an increase, but quite small. So in our general fund operating expenditures, there's several categories. Each slide has a section of the category and a few highlights of that. So first one is the general government services. And so there's an increase of about 7.5% from last year. This includes regular staff wages, which we see a bit of an increase as per inflation, as well as increase in in-person conferences and training able to be happening. We are preparing for the election in October and the usual 7 council members. City Hall landscaping, we're looking at some flagpole additions and then some exterior lighting updates. Our community grants and appropriations, that was $55,000 this year. Dauphin Regional Airport Authority subsidy of $106,000. And CN Station will see some exterior upgrades in terms of painting and washing of the building. The next section is protective services. Just over $3.5 million are the largest chunk of our budget by far. We also see a 14% increase in that. Some of the things that might have contributed to the increase, we saw an 18% increase in RCMP costs due to unionization. So that includes back pay to 2017, as well as a wage increase going forward. Our fire department, very small increase, and they are planning to do their usual maintenance to small equipment, gear, and facilities. In terms of emergency measures, we did a tabletop exercise last year and identified a couple deficiencies in our POW City Hall functions. Without power, our phone lines go dead in about 2 hours. So we're looking at upgrading that, and as well as upgrading some communications antennas for the fire department to be able to communicate better with us in times of when the emergency operations center opens. This section also has included in it expenses for the building inspector, animal control, insect control or mosquito larviciding, as well as bylaw enforcement. The next section is transportation services. Again, we saw an increase of about 5.5%. This includes all the operating costs for public works, like maintenance of curb and gutter, lanes and roads, general pavement repairs, crack sealing, sidewalks, drainage, mowing, street cleaning, basically everything that our shop crews do. It also includes some functional upgrades at the shop. And something to highlight, and I know our Director of Finance has definitely been telling us about this. We've already spent $100,000 more in 2022 on snow and ice removal than we had in the budget last year. So big line item for us this year, snow and ice removal. Next section is environmental health. And that's a really nice way of saying garbage recycling and yard waste. Very modest increase of 0.25% this year. And something to note is that in 2021, we opened our diversion center at the waste disposal site. So that allows residents to drop off various materials such as old electronics or e-waste, used oil, paint, compact fluorescent light bulbs, mercury that would be in thermometers or thermostats. This service is provided free of charge, and by the city's aggressive programs in recycling and yard waste and materials diversion. That allows us to keep our existing landfill open and ready to accept as regular garbage for a long time. It's very expensive to increase capacity at the landfill. So we want to push that expense down the road as far as possible, while also doing good things like recycling and diverting hazardous things out of our landfill. Next two sections are here. One is public health and welfare services. That one consists entirely of one-tier social assistance payments to the province of Manitoba, and has been like that for definitely 12 plus years. Something else that we were thinking about in this particular section, and when we were looking at the budget, decided that it wasn't quite the right time. However, the province changed our mind. So on April 29th, which was this past Friday, the province announced that the City of Dauphin will be one of 12 communities that will participate in a community safety and well-being plan pilot project, and that's starting this year in 2022. We don't have any details about the project, but we don't anticipate the city having to put any funds into this project this year. The second item on this slide is the environmental development services. And this is something that fluctuates a lot from year to year, kind of basically on what kind of different projects that we're doing. The biggest increase this year in this item is a development plan review. So I commented about that at the beginning. City of Dauphin this year is reviewing our development plan, and that just helps to create a document that guides us in a high level way of how to build our community. This section also talks about Dutch elm disease tree removal. Last year we started the rapid removal program, which was targeted trees that were super spreaders in July to remove them. We plan on doing that again this year. Train, I have nothing, no budget items for that. Communities in Bloom, this is a tree giveaway program year. So this is where we give away free trees to residents, a free tree per property, where they can plant it and take care of it on their own. That increases our tree canopy, but allows for the residents to take care of it. Weed control also falls into this section. Next one is economic development services. Decrease here by 19%. And again, this one does fluctuate depending on what's going on in the department and in our community. So things that could be in this, that are in this item, are economic development incentive programs, like the addition to residences, any commercial incentives, tipping fees, spec homes in our Dauphin Business Park. And one of the things that we're doing in this section, or doing out of this section, is a bigger promotion of the Dauphin Business Park. Last year, we created a marketing strategy with a consultant, and this year we're going to put that strategy in motion to attract businesses to come to our business park. Tourism, this includes visitor guide, park signage, aerial and other photographs. And one example of something that we're doing in this section is a place branding project with the Arm of Dauphin. And that was spearheaded, I guess it was probably at the end of 2020 by Tourism Manitoba. This section also includes the annual appropriation to the vet board. Next section, recreation and cultural services, $2 million, an increase of about just over 1%. This includes appropriations for facilities like the Watson Arts Center, Fort Dauphin Museum, the Dauphin Rail Museum, and the library. It includes support for our community band and the community jazz band. But most of the $2 million, over 85% of that, is the appropriation to Dauphin Recreation Services. So that was operating, the stuff that we do day to day. This next section is capital, or some of the big purchases. So there is an almost $1 million increase in capital projects and reserve transfers compared to 2021. So we've got some highlights on the next few slides. So the first one is infrastructure for roads. As always, we do some reconstruction, resurface, and mill and overlay. Crocus Bay, 10th Avenue Southwest is looking at reconstruction. Resurfacing, Elm and Tulip Crescent. And for mill and overlay, we're looking at 2nd Street Northeast. We're also looking at some backlane construction, not reconstruction, but construction. It was identified that there was a backlane that was in the city that was never constructed, and due to development, we need to construct that now. So that section, in terms of infrastructure roads, is just over $604,000. Sidewalk infrastructure, we're looking at doing some pedestrian crossing, a new pedestrian crossing with flashers, and that's at the intersection of Buchanan and Jackson, close to our shop where all the solar panels are. We've all learned something that I know I didn't know before, and I don't think everybody knew it. The bridge on 4th Avenue or Jackson, the one beside the hospital, is called the Buckwald Bridge. And since we've named it, we feel that we have to take care of it. So last year we did a study to see what was wrong with it, and we found a few deficiencies. So this year we are commissioning a consultant to do the design to help fix those deficiencies. And in the environmental section, we're doing some storm drain design, as well as design and plan of a compost site at the landfill. Next section is our equipment replacement. Got a few things on the list here. Garbage truck and a loader. Also some survey equipment, as well as a crew cab truck. And in terms of the fire department capital, a new pumper truck is on schedule for this year. Next section is economic development and tourism. So a few of their projects that they're doing. CN Station solar lights. We've been working on working with some partners to try to come up with the right content for an Indigenous statue, and that continues to be in the budget this year. Also, city park signage, and I know that project actually got underway. So there's most of our parks have some new signs at them, which we really like. In the information technology section, there's 2 GIS workstations and a video traffic data collector on tap. In the culture and arts section, we have scheduled for the Watson Arts Center windows in the main hall upstairs to be upgraded. And in the recreation section, active transportation, as I talked about earlier, 2 new legs of that route to be developed along 1st Avenue Southwest, and 8 from our existing route on 1st Avenue Southeast to ACC. Also a snow blower for the active transportation route, so we can get them clean quicker in the winter. Disc golf at Vermilion Park, toddler playground at Meadowlark Park, HVAC, Rotary Arena ice plant upgrades, Communities in Bloom watering truck and tank. This is where Councillor Eilers can stand and take a bow finally. And that last is rounded out by line painting machines for the playing fields. So in summary, adding up all of those capital expenditures is just over $3 million. Also, something else to note, and it's more of an analysis thing. Several years ago, Council gave direction to administration to allocate $1 million to streets and sidewalks. So this year, our roads capital is just over $581 million. $581,000, not million. $581,000. The operating cost for roads, $265,000, and the sidewalks and boulevards is $215,000. So that totals $1,061,650. I know Scott had a bit of a heart attack on that one. Sorry. So that was the general fund. That was basically everything except water and sewer. This next one, the utility fund, it's water and sewer. So revenue on the water side, just under $2.4 million is what we're expecting to generate. And from the wastewater side, just under $650,000. So note that there's an increase over 2021 due to an updated Public Utility Board order. That's number 103-21, and that started in October of 2021. That board order reflects an increase to water and sewer rates to ensure that we keep up with inflation and to help prepare for future projects. I'll want to note here, and that's really important, the utility must pay for itself. It cannot be subsidized by taxation. So it's extremely important to keep up with regular inflationary increases. So on the operating expenditure side, the expenditures are increased about 8.5% this year. And the wastewater has a decrease of about 4.5%. So some of those changes, increases are due to wage increases, routine water system assessment report, work on an agreement with Riding Mountain National Park regarding Edwards Lake or Edwards Creek as a water source, and there's some things that the National Park is asking of us so that we can work towards that agreement. We've also seen a lot of water main breaks this year. In terms of decreases, it's basically just less regular maintenance this year. Next one is capital expenditure. So where are we going to be spending or doing some of the bigger projects on the underground work? So water main relining, so that's the water delivery system, relining of those water mains. So that's 2nd Street Northeast and Main Street South. Water main renewal, and so that's actually digging up the street and putting in new pipes, new water mains. That's 4th Ave Northeast and 10th Ave Southeast. And then wastewater main relining, that's 10th Avenue Southwest and McLeod. And I swear, on my page, those numbers are lined up, Scott. Other capital expenditures that we've got this year, Manitoba Water Services Board provided us with 2 projects, 2 50% grant projects last year or 2, I think almost 2 years ago now is when we started talking about them. But the first one is upgrades to lift station 1 and 2, and that includes the orthophosphate program. And so there is $486,000 left on that project. And then the second Water Services Board is the UV disinfection project at the water treatment plant, and that's just over $1.1 million for that. And we are purchasing a mower for the water treatment plant. So that concludes the utility revenue and expenses. Last few slides are just a few general comments. The first one is our debenture debt analysis, or how much debt does the city of Dauphin has. So right now, our current borrowings for the general fund, there's some industrial park, Dauphin Business Park roads that we're paying for. In the utility fund, fire hydrants, when we did the roads in the industrial park, there was also some water lines put in, some aqueduct repairs from a few years ago, and Brown Avenue reservoir upgrades. So our City of Dauphin's debt projected at the end of 2022, and our general fund is just under $26,000 owing, and our utility fund is about $731,686. So at the end of 2022, total borrowing or total amount of debt that the city will have, $757,663. We do have a few projects, or two projects that we will be incurring or needing to incur debt to deliver. The drainage project at the south end, we anticipate that we'll need some borrowing to help that go along. But we're still finalizing a value on that one. And our lagoon project, we've been talking about for several years. That's some debt that we'll probably have to take on. On the utility side, I have that here. Oh, the utility side, we also will have some debt, and that we anticipate to start repayments in 2023. So there's some on the horizon, but right now we're looking really good. So how are our savings accounts looking? What do the reserves look like? So close to 10 years ago, Council of the day set a threshold for the amount of money that we need to have in the bank of at least 1 year's tax take. And today's Council agrees that that's still a good guideline. And 1 year's tax take is approximately $6.5 million. This year's budget was very tough to set, as Council's directive was to hold the line at the 2020 tax level and then reduce it by $200,000 and take that money from reserve that we got from the federal government. However, there were many expenditures in 2022 that were unforeseen and unavoidable. Some of them are higher than anticipated RCMP retro pay and wage increases, very high snowfall in 2022 already, and we don't know what's coming in the fall. There is a reduction in our anticipated taxes added in 2022 due to a slowdown in development. There's an increase in requirement for airport funding this year. And as everybody is feeling, there's a significant increase in fuel and natural gas. We are very fortunate the Council's directive could be met by drawing from our reserve funds. That being said, Council is drawing wisely and responsibly from the reserves to ensure financial stability and security into the future. And that completes my portion of talking. I will hand it back to our mayor, and if there's any questions from our audience. Thank you.
Yeah, just speaking obviously in favor of the budget, I just want to say thanks very much to city staff. It was, as Charlotte had mentioned, a very difficult budget this year, but nonetheless got it done. So again, thank you very much for all your hard work. I did have just a numbers comparison here because we talked about the 1.6% mill rate increase. Just looking at some other communities this year, Portage 4.22% raise, Brandon 1.91%. Selkirk 2.82, Winkler 6.69, and Morden with a 3% mill rate increase. So thank you again very much to city staff for all your hard work. And is there any other person present in support of the financial plan who wishes to speak? Councillor Juba.
Thank you, Mayor Lachlan. I just want to concur with your comments on offering my support to administration and the city management for crunching the numbers. This was a difficult year. Inflation really played a part in it, and projected inflation also played a great portion in coming up with the final numbers. We do not know what's coming around the next corner, and the rate of inflation can spike or it can settle down, but we're ready for it. So back to you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay. Is there any person present who wishes to speak in objection to the financial plan? Don't think there is, but I'll say it anyways. Does council have any questions of the presenter or others for clarification purposes only? Perfect. Is there anyone else who wishes to make a presentation regarding the 2022 financial plan? Scott, you don't want to do it one more time? Yeah. Okay, the representations for the public hearing for the City of Dauphins 2022 financial plan are now completed. So with that being said, Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Councillor Juba. Be it resolved that the public hearing for the 2022 financial plan be now concluded. No questions, no comments. I'll call those. All in favor? Motion carried. And that's it. Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Deputy Mayor Stakilo. Be it resolved that council now reconvenes to the special council meeting. All in favor there? Perfect. Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Juba, seconded by Deputy Mayor Stakilo. Whereas due notice was given with respect to the 2022 financial plan, and whereas no objections were received to said plan, be it resolved that the 2022 financial plan be accepted as presented, and further be it resolved that council authorizes the mayor and city manager to duly sign and seal the 2022 financial plan and forward it along with bylaw 05/2022-2022 tax levy once it receives third reading to the Manitoba Municipal Relations. Questions or comments there? Call those. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Deputy Mayor Stakilo, seconded by Councillor Eilers. Be it resolved that bylaw 05/2022, being a bylaw of the City of Dauphin to set the 2022 tax levy, be now read a first time. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Deputy Mayor Stakilo, seconded by Councillor Juba. Whereas for the past several years, grass cutting services for the property around the water treatment plant have been contracted out, and utility operators are interested in taking over grass cutting, which is expected to result in long-term cost savings. Be it resolved that council accepts as information a memorandum dated May 2nd, 2022 from the utility foreman recommending the purchase of a Ferris ISX 800 27 HP/61 lawnmower for a cost of $11,843 plus applicable taxes from Rose North Motors. And further be it resolved that council agrees with utility foreman's recommendation and authorizes the purchase of the lawnmower from Rose North Motors with the funds to come from the utility reserve. Any questions or comments regarding that mower? Seeing none, I'll call those. All in favor? Motion carried. And with that being said, moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Deputy Mayor Stakilo, be it resolved that this meeting does adjourn at 5:39.